The 1980s gave us some of the strangest trends people ever embraced. Some were surprisingly brilliant, some were completely ridiculous, and a few somehow became normal overnight. Today we're deciding which deserve a comeback and which should stay buried forever. And somehow, millions of people thought putting a battery on their tongue was a perfectly normal thing to do. You'd pull a 9-volt battery out, press it straight to your tongue, and feel that sharp, sour zing. Playground folklore said it could buy you 5 more minutes of power before whatever you were using finally died. It usually started as a dare, one kid trying it first while everyone else watched, waiting to see the look on their face. Some kids swore it gave the battery a charge. Others just liked the jolt. A few were just checking if there was any juice left at all. The truth was simpler. That zing wasn't recharging anything. It was draining whatever power was left straight onto your tongue. You weren't saving the battery. You were just saying goodbye to it a little faster than you would have anyway. This one can stay exactly where it left off. Nobody needs to put a battery on their tongue ever again. Big hair wasn't an accident. It was an entire engineering project just to get out the door each morning. Some nights you would even sleep in rollers just to get a head start, waking up to a half-finished shape that still needed another 20 minutes of teasing and spraying before it was ready for the day. You would tease your bangs as high as physically possible, then shellac the whole thing into place with half a can of hairspray. Before any of that, there was the smell, sweet, synthetic, a little like rubbing alcohol mixed with flowers, thick enough to fill the whole bathroom in seconds. That was Aqua Net. It wasn't just the women either. Some guys had the mullet, business in the front, party in the back. Others went the opposite way completely, the flat top, squared off so sharp you could balance a ruler on it. Somehow, all of it made perfect sense at the time. The hairspray most people use today doesn't come close to how strong it used to be. Maybe the height and the confidence deserve a comeback. The cloud of fumes that came with it really doesn't. The living room turned into a gym the second that workout tape clicked on. Neon spandex, leg warmers stacked all the way up to the knee, a leotard cinched so tight you could feel every beat of the music before the instructor even said a word. You would follow along with grapevines and high kicks, copying every clap and shoulder shimmy like the instructor could somehow see you through the screen. Looking back, half of it had nothing to do with getting in shape. It was about looking like you belonged on screen right next to her. The leg warmers weren't even keeping anyone warm. They were just part of the costume. That feeling is the part worth bringing back. Working out used to feel less like a chore and more like getting dressed up for something. When a cassette tape unraveled inside the player, there was really only one fix. You popped it open, found a pencil, and wound the tape back onto the reel by hand, turn after turn, until it ran smooth again. It was almost always the tape you cared about most, the one with a song you'd waited all afternoon by the radio just to record. Sometimes the tangle was too bad for that. The tape itself was creased or torn, and you'd cut out the damaged piece and splice the two ends back together with a sliver of tape, just to save whatever was left of the song. Losing it completely was never really an option. Nobody taught you any of this, you just figured it out, because giving up wasn't on the table. That kind of patience is hard to find anywhere today. If fixing a tape with a pencil sounds like patience, wait until you hear how far people went just to get 5 minutes of privacy on the phone. Privacy meant stretching the kitchen phone's coiled cord as far as it would go, down the hall, behind a closed door, sometimes all the way to the floor of your room, just to whisper to your crush without anyone listening in. Someone else in the house always needed the line too, banging on the door or quietly picking up the other extension just to listen in. The cord never stretched quite far enough, no matter how hard you pulled it. Maybe that was the whole point. Privacy you had to fight for felt like it actually meant something. That's worth wanting back. Every rented tape came with the same little warning stuck right on the case. Be kind. Please rewind. You always rewound it before bringing it back, racing the clock to beat the due date and avoid the late fee and the look from whoever was behind the counter. Some stores even kept a standalone rewinder shaped like a little sports car. Its only job winding tape back to the start all day long, never stopping between customers. It wasn't really about convenience. It was about respect for the next person renting it. A stranger you'd never meet who was counting on you to do your part. That small act of consideration for a stranger isn't really part of daily life anymore, though it might be worth bringing back. If rewinding a tape sounded tedious, wait until you see how much focus it took just to make a single bowl of popcorn. You would grip the handle of the aluminum pan and shake it over an open flame, watching the foil slowly expand into a fragile silver dome. The smell of melting butter filled the whole kitchen, usually pulling everyone else in the house over just to watch. You were terrified of burning it the whole time. Too fast, and you would scorch the bottom. Too slow, and it would not pop at all. Nobody used a timer. You just watched that dome grow and trusted your gut on when to pull it off. It was not really about the popcorn. It was standing at the stove, a little nervous, completely focused, with nothing else to do but watch it happen. Bring it back, even just for the rare night you want to slow down. You'd mash the tracking buttons on the VCR over and over, trying to clear the fuzzy lines rolling across a rented movie, while someone across the room shouted directions on which way to push it. Somewhere in that same static, you'd drag a hand across the screen, just to feel the electric crackle and watch the hairs on your arm stand straight up. Sometimes you'd get the picture locked in right as the best scene started, and the whole room would cheer like you'd actually accomplished something. But hands-on fixing a problem with your own two hands? That's something worth bringing back. If fighting with VCR static felt frustrating, wait until you hear how long people waited just to find out what was even on television. Families dog-eared the weekly TV guide, circling shows in pen before anyone even sat down, and arguing over whose pen got to it first. Later, that ritual got replaced by a single channel that did nothing but scroll the listings in slow blue and yellow text, and you would sit there praying your show had not already passed before you even tuned in. Nobody misses waiting 5 minutes for a scrolling guide. But a little anticipation might have made television more rewarding. Before MTV, music was something you captured by hand, finger hovering over the record button, waiting for your song to come on the radio so you could catch it before the DJ talked over the ending, often missing the first few seconds anyway. When you finally got a clean recording, it felt earned, in a way an instant download never could. Then MTV launched, and music got a face. Every band suddenly had a look, and television stopped being background noise for good. Maybe the only thing worth bringing back is the patience it took to actually capture a song by hand. If taping a song off the radio sounds like work, wait until you see what people were willing to carry on their shoulder just to play it loud. A boombox wasn't something you carried quietly. You'd hoist it onto your shoulder, the size of a suitcase, loaded with a fresh set of D batteries just to keep it running all day, and blast it loud enough that the whole block knew exactly what you were listening to. Leave it at home for an afternoon, and you'd come back to find a little brother or cousin had borrowed it without asking, scrambling to put it back in the exact same spot before you noticed it was even gone. Nobody asked first, not them, and not you either. You were just the soundtrack for wherever you happened to be standing. Today, you can carry your entire music library in a speaker the size of your hand. But somehow, it never feels as loud or as much yours as that suitcase ever did. The strangest thing about the 1980s isn't how different it was. It's how many of those ideas still make more sense than things you do today. Others deserve to disappear the moment the decade ended. So which trend would you bring back tomorrow? And which one should stay buried for good? Let us know in the comments. There's a lot more of the past still waiting.